I hereby call this meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Joining us from the Police Department is Chief Barry Roundtree and all of the staff. It's too many to name. Joining us from the Fire Department is Chief Anthony Farmer. So thank you, gentlemen, and all those who are here for being here today.
Ladies.
And ladies. Thank you. A wonderful correction. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today.
Mr. Chairman, may the chief introduce his staff.
Chief, it sounds like it's in order for you to introduce your staff. Our Mayor Pro Temp has made a request. If you should do so now, please.
Yes. Good evening again. Tonight we have Assistant Chief Wilson Weavers here. He's over our Field Services Bureau. We have Captain Katrina Thompson. She's over our Investigative Services Bureau. And Captain Natasha James. She's over our District 1. And also we have Sergeant Kevin Bowers. He's over our Downtown Bike Patrol.
We didn't slight no.
And we have our Assistant City Attorney for Public Safety, Ms. Lori Sight.
Yes.
All right. And Chief Farmer's here alone. He's the one-man gang.
Okay.
He doesn't need it. Councilmember, did you want to say anything?
Oh, no, I'm thankful.
All right. So we'll move on to the agendas. There are 2 items on the general agenda for discussion. There's an item requesting approval of a downtown public safety camera project, and there is another item updating us on the architects for the Public Safety Center and the Beatty building projects. We do have a few consent agenda items. Items on the consent agenda will be unanimously approved unless a council member or a member wishes to be pulled for discussion. Members of the committee, are there any items that should be pulled for further discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to hear a little more about C1, please.
Item C1. Is there a motion on the balance?
Move approval of the balance.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. All in favor, please show by saying aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Item C1, please.
Item C1, consideration of items related to the 2014 Domestic Violence Officer Position Grant. A, resolution accepting a Domestic Violence Officer Position Grant from the North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission. B, ordinance amending the annual appropriation and tax levy ordinance for the fiscal year 2014-2015. And C, ordinance amending the project budget ordinance for the fiscal year 2014-2015.
And giving us a, well, I'll tend to the Councilman Blight.
Mainly, I was wondering if this will be someone who is in-house or someone that will be brought in.
Good evening. This will actually be a sworn officer from in-house. So we have identified an officer. He has been seeking training up until now specifically for domestic violence. And like I said, he would be in-house, reassigned from patrol, if all goes well, to Investigative Services Division or division.
But there is a training period for the officer.
He has attended and has gone through, he has been, since we've been involved in seeking the grant, he has been attending training that's been offered by the Governor's Crime Commission as well, and some was mandatory, as we were notified that we actually were on the list to receive the grant. So as such, we had some mandatory training that was brought to our attention, and he has attended that. Also, this upcoming week, he'll also be attending some additional training, but he has had an extensive amount of training in the field of domestic violence. That will continue as he's going forth, but he's more than ready to take on the position and do a very good job in it.
A well-needed position.
Thank you.
Councilman Blight, are your questions exhausted?
Yes, thank you.
All right, do we want to get a motion on the table? I know Councilman McIntosh wanted to be recognized, but do you have any direct questions?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman McIntosh.
Just my question is, the funding for this is a grant, so we're going to use that to pay somebody that is already on our payroll. We get to use that money for other things. Does it stay within the police department?
It will stay within the
Great.
police department.
Thank you.
And I'm going to move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
It's been motion probably second. Any other discussion?
And Mr. Chairman, you were in order. He could have asked his question at this particular time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All in favor, please show by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. Item G1, please.
Item G1, Request for approval of downtown public safety camera project.
Given this presentation, we're joined by Chief Roundtree. Chief Roundtree is recognized.
Good evening again, Mayor Pro Tem Burke, Council, or Chairman Taylor, and members of the Public Safety Committee. During the September Public Safety Committee meeting, I presented a proposal for the implementation of a downtown public safety camera project. During that meeting, members of the Public Safety Committee seemed supportive of the project, but did ask why we chose downtown over other parts of the city. The Public Safety Committee specifically requested data comparing crime in the north, northeast, east, and southeast wards to crime in the downtown area. The committee also asked I bring back data supporting the initial installation and deployment of the camera project in the downtown area. What we did, we looked at the benefits of the downtown public safety camera project. Of course, you have this information in your packet already, but we looked at it where it can improve downtown and community safety, potentially reduce crime in the downtown area. We look at it like a force multiplier where we can increase police presence and visibility through the camera system. Also, it has the ability to assist us in criminal investigations and prosecution of cases, the increased perception of safety in the downtown community, improving our traffic and traffic safety, and reduce calls for service in the downtown area. If you look at some of the, or if you recall, some of the national events where camera technology has been valuable and instrumental in solving cases, such as the Boston bombing, the University of Virginia abduction, and most recently, the abduction of the female in Philadelphia. The cameras were very instrumental in solving these cases. Also, some of our recent events where cameras could have assisted and been very instrumental in solving the cases, where we had a recent rape a few weeks ago. It took place in a portable restroom facility. We had a shooting in one of our hotels that possibly the suspect would have been in the area where we mentioned deploying the cameras. And just this past weekend, if you look at some of the events that have taken place in the Greensboro downtown area, camera system could have been useful and provided answers to some of the questions that they're trying to find out now. Of course, their counsel is looking at revisiting the information that they presented on the downtown camera project a few weeks back. So cameras are can be very instrumental in solving cases and leading law enforcement to potential suspects. We looked at the project need. Right now, of course, the increased downtown residential and business population. There's been significant city and private investment dollars, as you're aware of, in the downtown area, and the number of special events, festivals, cultural events, parades, nightlife, etc., in the downtown area. It's not anywhere in the city where thousands of citizens, tourists congregate weekday and on the weekends to visit our establishments and also live and work in the downtown area. And I've heard numerous times in meetings such as this and others that the downtown is our living room and a place for all to come. Also, the criteria that we use for determining the project need and camera placement, we use a defined criteria for selecting the downtown area for the initial deployment area for the downtown camera project. Of course, we looked at the number of special events, as mentioned earlier, the parades, the festivals, the summer on trade, all the events that we have in the downtown area. Focal points of Forsyth County, which would be the downtown area, tourist attraction, the concentration of city parks that host public events. Of course, we have 3 of those in the downtown area. We also looked at crime, concentration of Part 1 crime. Part 1 crime being the homicides, rape, robbery, aggravated assaults, burglaries, larcenies, and motor vehicle thefts. And we looked at the national best practices. Where do progressive cities start their camera project? And we also looked at public space, where there's no expectation of privacy. When you start going into neighborhoods, that's when you start to run into some of those concerns. Again, just speaking of the investment piece, this information comes from city government, where you look at the increased economic development, public safety, downtown Winston-Salem partnership, and the perception of crime. At the time when this information was gathered, $151 million of current investment had been supplied to the downtown area. Just a photograph of some of the downtown events. These events here are shown in Mercer Plaza. And then, of course, this large event is in the streets near 4th and Spruce, downtown Winston-Salem. Special events. We looked at the special events 2012, 2013, and through June of 2014. We looked at the parade permits, the open air permits, picket permits, and exhibition show permits. And if you look at the information for parade permits, 61.5% of all parades occurred in the downtown area. Open air permits, 81.8% occurred in the downtown area. Picket permits, 50% of those, and the exhibition show permits, 55.6% of those occurred in the downtown area. Again, this is another slide just on the special events. District 1 is included in the downtown area, but about 79% occurred in District 1, and you look at just only the downtown area, 52% of those occurred in the downtown area. And then we looked at the Part 1 crimes. Again, I named the Part 1 crimes. You look at the wards, and then the downtown area. Of course, I'll explain this a little bit further later on as we look at some of the thematic maps. But this shows the distribution of crime, the Part 1 crime, from January 1st, 2012 through September 30th, 2014, comparing the downtown area to the wards. And just so we could have a defined area of downtown, we use the current downtown bike patrol area as our downtown border. Looking at the concentration of crime, this first area that you see is the South Ward. I think you can see where I'm moving the map. The highest concentration of crime in that area. This is actually a commercial area. Stratford Village Boulevard and Town Square Boulevard. This is the area off Peters Creek Parkway, the shopping center where the new Lowe's and Walmart and some of those other places are down there. So this is a commercial area. Southeast Ward, the highest concentration of Part 1 crime in that ward is the Tower Street, Walltown Street, the Brookline Avenue, and the Dacian Street area. Southwest Ward, again, this the highest concentration of the Part 1 crime is in the Haynes Mall area, South Creek Parkway. That's where you see the cursor moving. That's the highest concentration in that area. The East Ward, the highest concentration is the 11th Street, Highland Avenue, and 2nd Street. So that's more of a residential area and not commercial like the previous two. The West Ward, the highest concentration is going to be the Hunt Club Road area, Vinegar Hill, Thales Road. This is actually an apartment complex. Apartment complex is about the 5,000 block Country Club Road, right at Peace Haven Road. And the North Ward, the highest concentration is the area Northwest Crawford Place, West 25th Street, West 13th Street, and Lincoln Avenue. More of a residential area, some apartment buildings in those areas, and also private homes. Northeast Ward, again, this is another, the highest concentration of Part 1 crimes is in the commercial area. Summit Square Boulevard, Haynes Mall Boulevard, that's the area where the Walmart and some of the other commercial establishments are, right off Haynes Mill Road. And again, the concentration of crime in the downtown area, you see the highest concentration is around West 4th Street, Spruce, Poplar, right in the midst of our downtown area with the restaurant road. And the Northwest Ward, a lot of those blend into the downtown bike patrol area, West 6, North Trade, and West 2nd. And again, our proposed deployment area for the downtown public safety camera project. Of course, you see the three parks in Commercial Plaza, Corporation Plaza, and Winston Square Park, and also West 5th Street from North Poplar to Liberty Street, and West 4th Street from North Poplar to Liberty, and then along 4th and Trade Streets. In our future deployment, I know many of you mentioned about going into some of the residential areas. That is possible that we can do where we can spin off once we get the downtown project seeded and started. We could branch off into some of the feeder streets and into some of our areas of concern. Just a little information on some of the North Carolina cities that presently have camera systems. Charlotte, Fayetteville, Greensboro was slated to be implemented this year, and it was delayed. I'm not sure if it was delayed when the chief left, but I think it'll be placed back on the top burner at this point, and also Raleigh. I know that was kind of quick, but I didn't want to prolong it too long.
Thank you for your presentation, Chief. We do have one person signed up to speak about this matter, members of the committee. I would ask that we hold any discussion until we've heard from the members of the public, but are any direct questions for Chief Roundtree in reference to the presentation or the camera project? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Signed up to speak is Mr. Dan Dwight. Mr. Dwight, if you can come forward and give your name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Chairman, is it possible for me to wait till we have a discussion?
Sounds like that's okay. Thank you, sir. So we'll defer. Councilman Burr.
Yes, some years ago when they gave a report about the wards and where we had crime, the Northeast Ward appeared to have the largest number. When we look at this information, we also appear to still have, when you put all the figures together, the largest number as far as crime. And the next would be the South, what is the Southwest Ward. What I would like for Chief Roundtree to come back again, please. The reason some of the citizens got excited was when they saw this figure, they called in. In fact, they were doing a presentation with some high school students, and I got a call that the Northeast Ward had more crime than any in the city. And then at the time, Mr. Stewart was city manager. And what we had to emphasize, Chief Roundtree, would you please tell again for the record, we're not talking about high crime in residential areas. Tell why this figure is like it is today.
If I understand your question correctly, the crime is pretty much dispersed pretty equally across the city.
No, I'm just talking about Northeast Ward. See, I have to be accountable to the Northeast Ward people. Now, they have to be accountable.
But for the Northeast Ward, the information that we gathered and the information that you have for the Northeast Ward, the highest concentration of Part 1 crimes, the crimes that I named earlier: homicide, rape, robberies, aggravated assaults, larceny, burglaries, and motor vehicle theft. From January the 1st, 2012 through September the 30th, 2014.
Chief Roundtree,
It's
just
concentrated in this.
really say where it's concentrated.
It's concentrated in this area that you see, that's in the bright red area, which is the Summit Square Court and Haynes Mill Road area. And that is a shopping area that's located in the southeast ward.
Northeast Ward.
I mean, the northeast ward, excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to let it be known, we're not talking about residential.
Right.
We had high concentration
Right, this is
crime.
a
It's in the
commercial.
commercial area.
Right, commercial area.
Because I'll be getting some calls that we have a lot of crime in the Northeast Ward. Okay, thank you.
And Chief, from what I'm hearing, based on Councilmember Burke's point, it is obvious that in the Northeast Ward and the Southwest Ward, it appears that they have the largest Part 1 crimes, but it's because it's more of a shopping type area. One area has a huge mall and a huge shopping area, the other one has a Walmart, and there's a lot of people coming in and out. So it's not necessarily a danger to the residential community. It's more or less people coming in and out of the ward. Is that what I've heard?
That's it, and that's pretty much typical for most cities. You will have a higher concentration of Part 1 crimes in your larger shopping areas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Light.
That all says to me that if, in fact, we do want to carry this beyond the downtown area, that the places the places we should go are these big shopping center areas like the Walmart in my ward, and that would bypass any concerns about privacy, having a camera right outside your door to see your comings and goings.
I think that's a good possibility.
We heard him say it, didn't
we? We did. And Chief, I don't think, Councilmember McIntosh, and I'll make my comments.
Yep. Are we still talking about the same amount of money that we had spoken about at our last get-together, $85,000 roughly?
Yes or less. We have the flexibility to start at the number that we choose to, that we think would be beneficial.
Right, but we'll be within that footprint.
Yes.
My second question is, so we're really talking about using these cameras for evidence gathering versus prevention. These will not be monitored real time.
For some situations, yes, they will be monitored full time. If we know that there's going to be a special event, we have the capability. Well, my plan is to one day have a real-time crime center, but if there was a special event going on downtown tomorrow, for example, and we had a camera project up and running, we have the ability to have officers that they can monitor those cameras, where they could call in situations or alert officers on the ground to a situation before it starts.
And I guess my question there is, in the US DOJ final tech report from 2011, they very strongly spoke about monitored versus unmonitored and the effectiveness there.
Right.
And so while I think $85,000 isn't a huge amount of money, I'm not sure if we're going to get our bang for the buck on it. We're concentrating in a small area, which is good, so that you can catch perps moving from one camera to the next. But it really does seem sort of a defensive move versus an offensive move, whereas a monitored camera system would actually be more likely to prevent crime that is taking place. This is a kind of an after-the-fact thing. And I know it's a big difference in monetary outlay, but so I just wanted to check to see if we're pretty much going with the unmonitored, unless there's a special event scenario.
With special events and the camera system that we looked at with the hotspot capabilities, the officers can pull up the camera system that's in the downtown area and monitor that on their in-car computers.
So they can toggle to it.
Right,
Okay.
right, so they
Oh,
can.
that's
Councilmember Light.
good. That's just exactly what I was going to ask, if they could see it in front of them and go to a monitoring situation.
Right.
Just as it's called for. That's good, yeah.
Councilmember Burke.
Mr. Turnham, we've listened to the downtown, which we will say it is needed, as Chief Roundtree has stated to us, because it is important. People come in. And we also know the areas where we have in the northeast and the southwest that we need to emphasize how important it is, since these are the people also generating back revenue, that we look at putting some cameras. I follow up with Councilman Light, having those areas took that very seriously.
Understood.
Thank you.
And I will say, I don't think anyone here is against cameras downtown. I think we all, based on general consensus, feel that it is necessary, Chief. So we thank you for bringing the proposal forward. I just believe at the last particular meeting, there were some council members who were concerned about some of the hot spots that you've designated here on the screen. And I think we all want to know, if certain communities experience higher volumes of crime, are we able to then bring in portable cameras? And I know privacy and safety is an issue, but you know, there are some communities, well, I'll speak for myself. There are some areas in the southeast and in my neighborhood where I wouldn't mind you posting cameras because I know I'm safe from break-ins or we'll be able to catch those who are involved. Some communities over a period of a week or two experience a high volume of break-ins. So we just want to know, in the event that something like that happens, how can communities be protected? We want to protect downtown. We want to protect the shopping areas. We want to continue to keep our communities and neighborhoods safe. What are your thoughts, Chief?
Well, we have that capability now where we can deploy cameras to certain areas. Now, we look at the criteria and we try to be selective in the areas that we choose, but we do have that capability where we can deploy a camera system that we have now that's capable of taking still photographs, and those have been very instrumental in catching people breaking into businesses, storage facilities, and those kind of things.
Councilmember McIntosh.
Cameras are cheap now, certainly not the grade camera that we're looking at, but from a private residence standpoint, it's relatively inexpensive to do a webcam to hook up and just, you know, go wireless to your computer.
Yes.
Is there any way to harvest that and to plug that into our system where the police could actually watch private citizens' web cameras if they gave permission?
Well, the system that we're currently looking at, it does have the capability where we can tie into other camera systems. Like if there's a business that's downtown now, a restaurant, for example, depending on how their cameras are configured, the engineers at the company that we've been dealing with said that they can tie into those private cameras. That's what some of the cities are doing. They're partnering with existing cameras from private businesses in the area. Specifically, we took a trip to Fayetteville to look at their camera system, and they purchased X number of cameras, but they have the capability of looking at additional cameras just from the business, the private cameras that's in their downtown area.
Thanks, Chief. And you would just sit tight just in case we have any additional questions or comments. Mr. Dwight, the time for you to speak is upon us. If you'll give your name and address for the record.
Daniel Dwight, 500 Martha Court, 27284. I just wanted to listen to your discussion before I said anything. I think you're in support of the chief, which I am, and I just would like to encourage you to, we got to start somewhere. You know, if that somewhere is downtown or whatever, but we need to start somewhere, not let it go on. And you know, sometimes the cameras are after the fact, like you were discussing, and you know, it's sometimes with results that aren't good. But if you ask that young lady in Pennsylvania that was saved last week, I'm sure she would tell you she's for cameras. Even though it was after the fact of the crime, that's how they located her so quickly. And I expect you're going to get some flack from like the ACLU or some, you know, lawyer type person. I don't want to, you know, bring that up, but
Nothing personal.
I don't know.
I think you gotta, you know, do what's right for the majority, and I don't mean that in a race way, but you know, it's just 1% of the people that are doing things wrong. And, you know, if they're the ones raising havoc downtown, then, you know, this is a way to curb that. And I just would like you, men and women, to support the cause. And, you know, let's start small and then expand.
Thank you, Mr. Dwight. Councilman Burke.
We had the downtown partnership. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the presenters talked about the city of Winston-Salem as compared to some other cities, how forward we are. And I said to the city manager, I said, what we need to do is just get a list of all the kinds of businesses that we have seen develop, even the residential neighborhoods. people may criticize, but this city has made a tremendous forward move with commercial businesses, the downtown. When you look at some other downtowns, we've made a difference. And we continue to say we want to do everything we possibly can for residents as well as people who visit us and as well as the people who work and live downtown to feel safe and comfortable.
Thank you, ma'am. And with that, I will move on to the next item, but I believe this item was for general approval by the committee. I don't think it's an action item, but
That was the question I was going to ask the chief. Were you wanting council to vote on this on Monday, or is this for December? What are you expecting?
I would like to do it as soon as possible, but whatever.
how did I know he was going to say that?
I move for approval.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. All in favor, please show by saying aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And we'll have the resolution and judge ordinance in your packets on.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, in our packages before Monday.
Well, yes, before Monday.
Thank you, ma'am. Item G2, please.
Item G2, update on architects for the Public Safety Center and the Beatty Building projects.
I am very excited about these projects, and given the brief presentation is Mr. Greg Turner.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, as you recall, the bond package includes money for the renovation of the Public Safety Center and for the upfit of the Beatty Building. As you also recall, staff has made a commitment whenever possible to bring you a item as information the first round and then as an action item the next round. So this item is actually information on the process that we went through and the consultants that we selected using that process for those two projects. There were 7 firms that were considered for the Public Safety Center, and there were 10 considered for the Beatty Building. From those firms, based upon years in business, work experience, staff availability, understanding of the project, proposed plan of action, distance from the project, and MWBE commitment, we selected the firm of ADC, Architectural Design Associates, for the Public Safety Center, and Steel Group for the Beatty Building. We will bring you information on how they scored in those 7 categories when we bring the item back to you, and we'll also bring information on where they're located. I will tell you that all of them, well, both of these firms didn't meet the MWBE commitment, and both are located fairly close, or in some cases fairly close to Winston-Salem. And they're within the 20 miles that gets you the maximum number of points under our proximity to the work site provision. Be happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Well, I know that this committee and this council has taken a firm stance on making sure that we include women-owned businesses and that we include minority-owned businesses, so I'm glad that you brought that up, and that firm was definitely pro the 10% concept. Councilmember Burke.
In the Finance Committee meeting, I had that brought up with all the firms that we're working with, and I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, that we emphasize the 10% or more. And if we can, if they need any people who are out of Winston-Salem, we'd like for them to get jobs as well.
Understood.
Hire local.
Understood.
Councilmember Light, did you want to be recognized?
We're good.
All right, if there's no further discussion, I entertain a motion. Oh, this is information this time. It'll come back.
Make a motion if you like. Sorry. It's informational.
Yeah, well, I like motions, but we'll save it for the next go-around. So thank you for that update. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Does anybody else wish to be recognized on a particular matter? If not, we consider this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you.